So this is a comparison that has to happen.
Even if one of these trucks is significantly down on cylinder count and horsepower.
Yeah, but these two are destined to be put together.
All right, so that's what we're doing today. The new Raptor and the insane TRX.
Yes. All right, let's talk looks first. Which one jumps out at you? What are you thinking?
You know, they both have a ton of cladding on there. They look really beefy and aggressive, ready for a ton of off-roading fun. Something to note, the F-150 Raptor is only available now in a Super Crew configuration, so the wheelbases on both trucks are the same. The TRX, though, is 2 inches wider. Now, the Ford Raptor gets 35-inch tires with 37s available, and those give it a 13.1-inch ground clearance, which, I mean, you can pretty much see Oregon from the cabin. Now, Ram's TRX comes with 35s, and that makes a difference in both of those when it comes to approach, departure, and breakover angles on these trucks. There's a lot to talk about with the interior, too.
Yeah, sync works pretty well on this truck. Uconnect has been really good for a while. I love the blue interior on this Raptor. I just wish you didn't have to up-spec to the 37s to get it. With respect to power, clearly the Ram TRX has this one.
Yeah, that's 250 more horsepower. Honestly, it makes way better noise. And, you know, for a purpose-built truck like this, that just equals more fun.
Yep. So for actual stats sake, let's dive in. The Ford Raptor uses a twin turbocharged 3.5-liter V6. It makes 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. Sounds awesome, right?
Well, it would sound great if the Ram TRX didn't pack a 6.2-liter V8 with a massive supercharger. It adds up to 702 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. Never to be outdone, however, and Ford loves their one-upsmanship battles they play with both Ram and Jeep, the Raptor is going to be offered with a V8, and that will be a closer comparison in the powertrain department. Payload capacity for the Raptor maxes out at 1,400 pounds, towing at 8,200 pounds. You'll get a little bit less in both categories with the TRX at 1,310 pounds capacity payload and 8,100 pounds for towing. So we're in the Ram TRX right now. The first thing that you're gonna talk about is the extra power that you get in this thing.
Yeah. And the engine's just, it's monstrous. It's like a Hellcat truck. It's been insane.
You turn it on, you can tell an instant difference between the two of them, even though that Ford Raptor has a new special exhaust. But this one is just, it's next level when it comes to truck. Now, okay, also when it comes to truck, the first and probably most important thing that you want to talk about is the suspension.
Yeah.
This one gets, it gets 2.6-inch Bilstein shocks. They're the Blackhawk E2 shocks. They were made specially for the truck. And so they have just the special jounce system on them, so they're super smooth. You can, basically go over pretty much anything at high speeds and not ruin your internal organs.
Yeah, when you combine 35-inch tires with specially built Bilstein Blackhawk E2s, which is just a cool name for a shock technology or any product, you get a good ride. And we're rolling over some really big potholes, and we're trying to go slower than normal just because we're talking to camera right now.
That's right.
But this truck can handle a lot, and it's crazy because it's big. I prefer off-roading in smaller vehicles, but this is extremely comfortable, extremely fast, and this isn't a trail runner, even though we're running trails today. This is an open desert runner, much like the Raptor is as well.
So speaking of that, travel is a really important thing when you're doing that kind of driving. This one does get a little bit less than the Raptor does. So this one gets 13 inches of travel up front. It gets 14 in the back. However, you do sacrifice a little bit of that travel if you opt for the 37-inch tires that you get on the Raptor.
The Raptor that I'm driving, which we'll talk about in a second, it has the optional 37, so it actually has the same amount of travel as this truck does. But then you get into approach angles and departure angles, and these are big trucks. They're not Jeep Wranglers, they're not Defenders, they're not Broncos. So again, this isn't what we would normally be doing in these trucks, but they're totally fine to do it too, which is crazy.
That's right.
Now, another thing this has that the Raptor doesn't is a crazy launch control mode, because it is a Stellantis product with a crazy engine, so it has to do crazy things. But the funny thing about this one is only four-wheel drive, 4 high, 4 low. It does have a transfer case, so it's real deal. However, there is no rear-wheel drive only mode, which I'm gonna say is a little surprising on this truck. So despite being down on power in the Raptor, it has one of the best suspensions in the game for this sort of stuff. The Fox Live Valve Tech is wild, how it's just constantly checking to see where the wheel positions are at, if you're airborne or not. It's just crazy, crazy stuff, and it being coil sprung out back makes it a comfortable ride on-road and off-road.
Game changer completely for the Raptor, 100%. Yeah, those shocks are adjusting damping 500 times a second. I mean, the rates on those are absolutely ridiculous. Twice what they were in the previous gen Raptor. So, I mean, Ford's definitely dialed this into the next level as far as Baja style driving goes.
Yeah, and speaking of Baja style driving, I have this in Baja driving mode. There's different driving modes. There's a sport mode, there's sand and snow. And the one thing I like is that when you put this into Baja mode, it changes not just the steering and the dampers, it also changes the new active exhaust system where it gets a bit louder. And then additionally in Baja mode, what I like to do is I put it into Baja mode, it wants to shift into 4-wheel drive, but then I push it back into 2-wheel drive so you can do a 2-wheel drive Baja mode, and then have a bit of slidey fun.
Ah, that's the hoon in you.
That's right.
Yeah, that new exhaust, I think there were a lot of complaints last generation that customers really wanted some more fun noise in this thing. It's a fun truck. You want it to sound good as well. And I think it definitely makes a lot of improvements over what it used to sound like, for sure.
So obviously first gen Raptors sound great because it's a V8.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate the way the second gen sounded. It just reminded me of a trophy truck tearing through the dirt in the middle of the night down in Mexico. And this is more of that. It's louder, it's good, and it's nice to see them make people happy. However, the TRX blows us out of the water noise-wise.
Yeah, the TRX doesn't need any kind of special doodah exhaust.
No.
Like, you turn that thing on and it's all Hellcat all the time.
It just barks at you. It's insane. I mean, you can't replace V8 noise with, even if the active exhaust on this is working as hard as it is, and it's doing a good job, the TRX definitely wins in the power and sound department.
Yes, and as you know, I mean, Ford is definitely, going to up the ante. They're coming out with the Raptor R, which is the V8 that's coming. So, we'll have a chance to do more of a direct apples to apples comparison when that happens.
So we have to compare the trucks for what they are today. The Raptor is a great, awesome, wonderful truck, and the TRX is just a monster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is Ram's response to the Raptor, and again, I love the one-upsmanship between all of these manufacturers. I think they definitely are pushing the other to do bigger, better, greater things, and that obviously is the result in this TRX. The one thing I will say is with the 37-inch tires that you can get on the Raptor, you're going to get a little bit more ground clearance, so it is going to give you some better numbers when it comes to approach, departure, and breakover stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the weight penalty, I thought it would be higher for the 37s, but the difference around each corner, I think it's only like 3 pounds per corner difference between the 35s and the 37s. So it's not as bad as I thought, but you do take a fuel economy hit on these, and it's again minimal. And if you're buying either one of these trucks, the TRX or the Raptor, I don't think you care about fuel economy.
You don't care about fuel economy. You also do take a hit on those 37s with travel. So you lose an inch in the front and the rear.
You should always pay attention to where you're putting your tire off-road, but if you forget a few times on a 37-inch tire, you're most likely going to be okay.
It's very forgivable.
Yeah.
It's very forgivable.
Steering feel on this is great. The brakes on both of them are great. This thing stops really well on the loose stuff. And then on the TRX, the rotors are even bigger. I think it has nearly 15-inch brake rotors up front.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. The transmission on this, you do get the 10 gears with that Ford offers on the regular F-150. And honestly, I really like the way that it's that all the ratios are positioned. I think it's really efficient and it does a really good job. The one thing that you can get in the Raptor is some of that Bronco, that off-roading Bronco stuff that you can't get on the TRX. There's one feature in particular, it's sort of like a one-pedal off-roading system, which is pretty good. But again, for the most part, I would imagine you're not going to do a ton of rock crawling in this.
No.
This is more bombing down dirt roads, Baja style.
All that extra engine and horsepower costs a ton of money though. The base price of a Ram TRX is over $70,000, whereas on the Raptor, it's over $64,000.
Sticker price on this, $91,700. On the Raptor, 82 grand. But you know what? You are not gonna find either one of these trucks without a ridiculous dealer markup.
So you have enough money in your bank account and you can afford the fuel and tire bills. Which one you taking?
250 extra horsepower is really, really hard to deny. So because this is purpose built and the purpose is not to haul around stuff for your small landscaping business, I'd go TRX.
Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of Ford and I really like what the Raptor can do, but the power and the insanity, and if you're picking a big dumb truck for a lot of money, I gotta go this one too. However, I am very excited to see what happens when the Raptor R comes out.
Absolutely. We'll do another one then.
Yeah, we will.